Spoiler warning. This video contains major spoilers for Jurassic World: Rebirth. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I strongly recommend watching it first and coming back. Unless you're here for the chaos, in which case, welcome. Because we're diving into the deep end of mutated dinosaurs, missed opportunities, and what the survival of the D-Rex could mean for the future of the Jurassic franchise. So, grab your flare, step carefully through the jungle, and let's talk about the future of a franchise that might just be on the brink of extinction. Or evolution. Before we start, don't forget to like this video. If you love honest breakdowns, deep dives, and the occasional cinematic rant, give that thumbs up button a good bite. And if you're new here, stick around because we're not done until the last dinosaur roars. Let's start with where we are right now. Jurassic World: Rebirth was pitched as a soft reboot, a bold new direction for the franchise. It promised grounded storytelling, stronger characters, and a break from the formulaic theme park gone wrong structure. In some ways, it delivered, but the ending of the film and the fate of the Distortus Rex leaves us with more questions than answers. And depending on what Universal decides to do next, we're either headed for a franchise renaissance or a messy extinction. So in case you missed it, the film ends with Duncan, Zora, and Dr. Henry Loomis surviving the expedition to the island. Duncan's dramatic flare scene, where he draws the D-Rex away to save the others, was originally meant to be his death scene. But after test screenings, Universal had the scene reshot to keep Duncan alive, and the movie ends on a more hopeful note. The trio escape the island with the dinosaur DNA intact, potentially giving humanity access to a cure for heart disease. Zora decides to make the cure public, rejecting Parker Genix's corporate greed. And the D-Rex? It survives. That's right. No T-Rex showdown. No raptor rescue. No explosive finale. The Distortus Rex, arguably the film's most marketable and hyped-up creature, lives and just slinks back into the jungle like some final boss who didn't get the memo that the credits rolled. And while that might sound like a weak ending, it might actually be the most important storytelling decision in the entire movie. Let's talk about what this means. In every previous Jurassic film, the big dinosaur villain, whether it was the Indominus Rex or the Indoraptor, died. It was the franchise formula. New dino gets loose, eats people, gets outsmarted by humans or outmatched by nature, and dies. But not this time. The D-Rex is still alive, which means we may be entering a new era for this franchise, an era where dinosaurs are no longer monsters to be defeated, but lingering forces of nature, a kind of bioterror that doesn't go away when the credits roll. And that raises the big question. What happens next? Where does the franchise go from here? Let's imagine a few scenarios. First, the D-Rex becomes a recurring threat. Think of it like Godzilla's Ghidorah or the xenomorph queen from Alien. It returns, stronger, smarter, maybe even evolving, not just physically, but intellectually. What if we start seeing cognitive adaptation in these hybrids? The D-Rex isn't just a mutated freak, it could become the symbol of what happens when science stops asking should we, and only asks can we. Second, let's talk about the Mutadons. Yeah, the movie didn't do much with them, but they're clearly set up to be raptor-like side threats. They've got wings, they're agile, they're weirdly forgettable in this movie, but that just means they could be expanded in sequels. Imagine packs of Mutadons invading mainland environments, cities, rural towns, airports. We've only scratched the surface, and then there's the DNA cure. Zora's decision to give it away publicly is the right thing morally, but what happens when the world gets its hands on dinosaur genetics? Do governments start making bioweapons? Do corporations create their own hybrid monsters for security? Does the cure mutate and trigger something unintended? This sets up the potential for the Jurassic franchise to go full sci-fi thriller, exploring not just what dinosaurs are, but what they represent: power, evolution, hubris, and the price of playing God. We could even see a global shift. What if regions of the world became quarantined evolution zones where mutated dinos rule and humans fear to tread? This could take the series out of the jungle and into urban ruins, ice fields, deserts, anywhere new. Maybe Antarctica, like early rumors teased. What if the D-Rex survives long enough to adapt to freezing climates? Evolution doesn't pause, and these creatures are built to outlive us. Now, here's the hard truth. All of that sounds great on paper. But if Universal plays it safe again, we're headed straight back into mediocrity. That's the scariest future of all, because here's what playing it safe looks like. Another film set in a jungle, with more hybrids, more cardboard human characters, and another underwhelming final battle. A D-Rex that roars a lot but does nothing. New dino designs that look cool on lunchboxes but don't matter in the story. All visuals, no depth. And if we get that again, the franchise dies. Slowly, publicly, with fans just stopping, not raging, just giving up. But what if Universal goes bold? Imagine a Jurassic film that leans into climate collapse, mass extinction, genetic warfare, and survival horror. Think Planet of the Apes, but with dinosaurs, cities abandoned, dinosaurs ruling certain zones of the world, survivors adapting, maybe even characters starting to question who the real monsters are. Duncan, Zora, Henry, they could return as mentors, rebels, or scientists trying to fix what humanity has broken for good. That's the direction that could make Jurassic World feel alive again. Dangerous, unpredictable, and relevant. They could even go further. What if the next movie didn't follow a human protagonist at all? What if it was told from the perspective of the D-Rex? A bold, nearly dialogue-free film showing the animal's instinct, trauma, memory, and adaptation. It's crazy, but this franchise needs crazy. The safe route already gave us Dominion Rebirth wasn't perfect. The D-Rex was underused. The Mutadons were barely introduced. The side plot with the shipwrecked family added nothing, and the pacing was awkward. But for all its issues, Rebirth planted seeds. Seeds of a world where dinosaurs are not just exhibits, but invasive species, living myths, and consequences made flesh. So where do I think the franchise is heading, honestly? I think Universal is torn. They want the commercial safety of dinosaur battles and PG-13 thrills, but they also see the potential of going deeper, exploring evolution, survival, and bioethics. If they find the courage to push forward instead of recycling old formulas, we might get something special, but if they don't, well, extinction is a theme for a reason. Thanks for watching. If you stayed this long, you're a legend. Seriously. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you think the future holds for Jurassic World, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives, honest reviews, and everything in between. Like this video if it made you think, or even made you laugh, because whether this franchise soars or stumbles, we'll be right here, watching the footprints in the mud. See you in the next one.